What are you guys talking about up here?
Where I'm talking about this podcast. I know the hosts. Welcome to You Do, a podcast where we explore everything queer, Asian, and identity and get into everything that you do.
I'm your host, Vince Buendicho.
And I'm Mathew Vo.
We appreciate everyone who's already listened to our podcast. And if you haven't, please rate and follow us on YOUDOOPOD. It means a lot for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today we have our first guest ever on You Do. I can't wait. He's such a cool person. He's a longtime friend of ours. But before we introduce him, there's a reason why we wanted our guest on this podcast. He's been a longtime friend of ours. There's so many aspects to his life that I find really admirable and like very courageous, and played a huge part in sort of my upbringing in Brisbane and during school and college and moving away. And I think there's different aspects that we can all relate to. So our first guest is Yuu Lim from Brisbane. His journey from Malaysia to Brisbane has been like both life building and professionally and personally. He's a tax accountant, therefore he's a master of numbers. His partner is Michael, and they've navigated their lives for 13 years, which is basically a lifetime in straight people world. So they have just so many shared adventures together. They have a home in Brisbane, Australia, which is both where we're from, and they have two beautiful dogs
So
that,
gorgeous.
oh my god, so gorgeous. And yeah, I think there's so many aspects that I find so exciting about you, but also I admire a lot about him. And before we introduce our guests, we want to go through our how do you do for the week. So Vince, how do you do this week?
This week I was sick,
Oh my
which
god.
yeah, I feel like everyone caught something in Vancouver. But that's fine. Like if you just hear me coughing, it's I'm not dying. It's fine. It's all good. But yeah, no, I've been really good. I've been very active outside of work, which is kind of insane because I'm like, I'm not sick. I'm gonna keep doing stuff because the sun is out. Which was to my detriment because I got even more sick, and I was like, I should actually rest. Yeah, no, this is probably my
Mm.
body telling me like to relax. But other than that, I am feeling great. I'm so excited for this episode. And how about you, Matt? How do you do?
You do actually mention the sun every single
I
how do you
know.
do.
And like I'm flooded by the sun right now, and I'm just like I feel like I'm glowing. I'm
No,
like
it helps.
energy.
My how do you do, since our last episode, we recorded our last episode 2 weeks ago. Every you do episode we do it's bi-weekly.
Yeah,
The last episode we recorded definitely unlocked
yeah.
a bunch of feelings and emotions in me that I had never really tapped into before. And so um I've been doing therapy for a few months now, and I mentioned it to my therapist and just had a breakthrough with him, and
Mm.
just on how receiving love is a really difficult thing for me. And then I went to an art fair on last Friday, and I got my aura painted, which I'd never done before. And
Okay.
I,
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I was with my friend. We were in this art fair, and I like sat. We hadn't really talked. Like we hadn't really introduced ourselves to the artist. We kind of
Yeah.
just said, "Hey, my name is Mathew," and then she told me to close my eyes, imagine my heart as like a gate, and this energy, this light, just is opening through this, or like flooding through this gate, right? And maybe I talked to her for like a minute, but she told me to sit down and do that, and she started just like painting these colors, and it's like a lot of greens and blues, but then there was moments of it that were really heavy.
Mm.
And she basically clocked that I've had a rough childhood, and like I feel a little bit protective of my adult self and guarded from the world a little bit, and I just like started tearing up because she just like I really didn't have any interaction with her, and she already kind of knew the
Like
presence and
sensed.
the aura,
Yeah.
like literally
Yeah.
the aura that I
Yeah.
was giving off. And yeah, it's a crazy experience. I know some people get their aura photographed, which you can't really
Mm.
like fake. But yeah, I think I've just been a little bit more emotionally
Yeah.
aware of
That's good.
how I approach people, or
Yeah.
just feeling more and more grounded
Hmm.
and open to people and open to love and all that stuff. So
Oh, that's amazing.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So one person that I feel like wears their heart on their sleeve is our guest today. I think there is no hiding. There is
Yeah.
like, we know him for who he is, and I think there's just such value, and it's very admirable. I think it's just very admirable in so many ways. So please welcome Yuu Lim from Brisbane to You
Hey,
Whoa.
Do.
Queens.
Hey.
Hello.
What an intro. Thanks,
Right?
Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, love
Thank
it.
you so much for coming
Thanks,
on.
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Just kidding.
Mm,
Yeah, there's so much to get into, but we'd like to just
mm.
jump right into it. I do want to introduce on how you and I met. It's just the
Yes.
funniest and craziest
Iconic.
story.
It's iconic already.
It's iconic. It really is. And you actually sent me screenshots of how we met.
I did.
That
Yes.
was it 11 years ago?
Oh my god.
11 years ago, 2013.
2013. That
Mm.
was my first year of
Yeah, our first
university.
year at university. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually
Yeah.
I also
You're
met
busy.
also met Vince that year.
Yeah. So many things happened. You met two gays.
I know. I finally found the gays in Brisbane after
He
after
has been working.
after high school. But you and I met on breatheheavy.com, which was a Britney
Hmm.
Spears fan site.
It sounds sus. It
I wasn't
sounds
Yeah,
gonna
sus,
say. I
but
was
it
like,
is.
it does sound sus. Breathe heavy. Breathe heavy.
Yeah,
But it's a
but it
Britney
is.
site.
Yeah. Mm.
I would go on it every day because, like, what is there to do in school, you know?
Yeah,
And
and
it's
I was in uni as well, so
yeah,
I was on it daily. It is, yeah, it's like my life pretty much at that time.
it's a blog. There would be
It
like new
is
Britney music, or something happened in her personal life, and then we would just like go online and talk about it. I don't know who has the
it's
time
totally
anymore.
healthy, Matt.
Totally healthy. This obsession with Britney Spears, but
It started with this post, like you know the way that you and I met. We met digitally, but also
yeah,
I want to think organically, like
yeah,
mm,
like you know the way we met. It was via someone posting where's all the Britney Spears fans from, and then we went like it was from there that you saw someone that's also in Brisbane, and then you reached out, and I feel like that's still kind of organically in a sense because you know we're not like Michael and I met on like an app, but
hmm,
like you know with a goal to meet each other and stuff like that. But like you and I, it's you know like it's not like we went there to look for someone to meet in real life.
exactly. Yeah, not in a like dating capacity. It was just like, oh my god,
Correct,
and
that's
not
right.
someone
yeah.
else that loves Britney as much as I do, and is in Brisbane and goes to the same university. That's crazy.
Yeah, you're
I
Hmm.
definitely both like seeking connections. And I think that's how you and I met as well, Matt. We're just kind of like, oh, we're doing the same
yeah,
thing. Like, let's just see where this goes. And like 13 years later, look at all of us sitting in our respective
different
homes.
parts of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy how life just unfolds in that way that you're just like, take a
Hmm.
chance, take a leap, let's talk to this person or do this. And it's just like, has this entire narrative now. It's insane.
Hmm. You
So many good reasons why. Yeah.
do you remember the first day that we actually met in person?
I think we met in QT.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like in the block next to the swimming
D
pool.
block. Vince, D block.
Yeah, is that
Oh, yeah. 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 Deep,
No,
deep
D
block.
block is
Like
the
D
the
one
block?
next to the
design
Yeah.
block.
cafe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next to the cafe. And I
There's
remember
artisans.
yes, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
around that cafe. I remember like you and I hadn't even known each other at all, and I think you had brought all these like Britney CDs
Oh my
that
god.
I didn't have,
I did.
and you gave them to
That's
me, and they're still with me. Well, not with me here, but they're at my parents' house. And I just was like, this is so nice. I was like, this is the sweetest thing, like
oh
for a stranger to just like
yeah.
Yeah.
first. And I remember it
I'm
obviously
generous
for
like
life.
that.
You are very generous. You really are.
No, like at that time, I was like collecting a lot of Britney stuff. And at that time, I had a lot like extras and duplicates, and I'm like, oh, this is Britney fan. What do you have? What do you don't have? I'll pass on some
Yeah. No,
to the younger guys, you know.
because you're
Just
so
a charity,
experienced.
just like so here.
And
Here's-
it kind of hit me. I'm like, am I old? Because this new generation of fan do not have any, like, because I think you just had like a digital library of Britney stuff, and I'm like, oh, I have all this physical stuff. Do you want some?
I would burn Britney CDs on
LimeWire.
No, not LimeWire. It's just like mixed tapes, like mixed CDs. I used to just do that because maybe I didn't know how to get Britney CDs or I couldn't afford it or something. Yeah, when I first got an actual Britney CD, I was like going through the booklet and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, yeah, it was very sweet. So I want to thank you for that.
No worries.
So obviously this is our first guest. We want to ask our guests, how do you do for their week too? So how do you do this week?
My week has been pretty busy at work so far, like because it's month end and, you know, tax accountant, a lot of due date lodgements coming up end of this month, and there's a lot of like year end billing, month end billing as well. So there's a lot of that to wrap up, and I think these past weeks I've been feeling a bit burnt out. So I just can't wait. I'm counting down my days to go on holiday.
March is a typically busy time for accounting, is it not?
It will be as well.
Yeah.
There are some there's lodgement due dates at the end of February and March, and then you have another one in May. So
right, how do you deal with burnout? Like, how do you relax from it, or how do you kind of navigate through that?
I think sometimes I just force myself to put work down and grab a book. I haven't got onto the mindless scrolling of TikTok yet, but probably someday I will. Or like movies. I like watching series and movies. And what I've been looking forward to every Monday now is a White Lotus.
Oh my God.
Oh,
That's something that me and Michael has never, like, we have never been, on watching something together. Like, yeah, we don't really follow series, but this is like one I'm like, hey, we can start from the start because every season's a new theme, a new content.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, let's just start with episode 1. And also, just going on to something else as well. Thailand has recently legalized gay marriage, right? So
I did not know.
Watching this one, I was like, oh, could we probably do a vacation to Thailand and then maybe followed up by like, I don't know, like a wedding or something like that. That the family can easily go to as well because it's so close to my hometown.
Yeah.
And I don't have to make everybody travel to Australia if we're having one.
Right. So speaking on like Malaysia and your upbringing, like, can we talk about your life now and how your journey to Brisbane kind of came about?
I think life is pretty stable. Like, I'm in my stable era. We have gone through like such a chaotic construction of this place in the past 2 years with the builder going bankrupt and all that. So me and Michael were just pretty much focusing all our energy in the past 2-3 years on building this place. So I think life at the moment, at the present, is pretty chill, just enjoying this place. I think it's pretty stable at the moment in every aspect of life.
Yeah. And can you talk about what the construction and the design process was like for you in the last couple of years? Like, you started this process maybe in 2021?
Was
I think it was like just right after COVID.
Right.
So we have started the process with the builder, going to select colors and select designs and all that fun stuff. So that was fun until they went bankrupt midway through. So the house was about 40-50% done at that stage.
Oh my gosh.
So we then had to look for a new builder, and then I had to liaise with the government to see, like, with insurance, how much they can cover, because the building cost went up by at least $200K
because of COVID, or
because of
Just
COVID, staff shortages and materials. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It's a good process. Playing with that, liaising with insurer for like, yeah. So I would constantly had to get off work for a bit, to call the insurer and then manage my new builder as well. Because after that, we got a new builder that is not a big builder because we were kind of skeptical of the big builders.
Yeah.
We're not sure whether they will go bankrupt as well because there was so many bankruptcy in the industry. So we got like a smaller builder, but then with the smaller builder, there is a lack of planning and processing. So I was pretty much doing a lot of the managing for him and have to hold his hand through the whole process, which is kind of weird as well.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
it's their
so a
job.
lot of energy went into that.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I love that your life is very stable, and
Mhm.
Vince and I always talk about like
Yeah, like
you are
exactly.
goals.
Or like goals. Just when you talked about how I know that the process itself was kind of very like rough for you guys, but like I know it's gonna sound so cliche, but like I feel like you would have learned so much about yourself and then like Michael and then just about everything in those 2 years. And then now that you can comfortably say, I'm in my stable era is such like it's kind of awesome to hear because it's just like you can essentially now wind down, literally have wine and get down, and just at your own at your own place and just be like, man, like look what I've like achieved in the last 2 years. Slash like the things that you would have planned this out like ages ago. And it's like as Matt has mentioned, it's something that we kind of look forward to. Slash like we're yearning for.
Yeah.
And then you're like living it. So we're vicariously living through whenever I hear success stories
life.
from you, I'm just like, how does it feel to live my life? No, I'm kidding.
The life
is
that we
crazy.
want.
This is crazy that you mentioned that you're living vicariously through my life, but I'm living my life through your life because like every time I see that you guys are doing your thing, I'm like, oh, I'm loving, I'm loving the Insta stories, like Matt's going to all these events, like this Hollywood stuff. I love it. I love seeing that, and I love seeing your dance stories as well. I just love going through that. I'm like, oh,
Let's have life swap
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
week.
oh my god! If we can have a Freaky Friday moment, I would love that. Just like,
Ooh, what an interesting. Oh,
You would pick
Yeah.
us as your Freaky Friday?
100%, yes. I want to be in LA.
You don't want to be Brittany in her Calabasas home, like twirling and spinning everywhere. Speaking of Freaky Friday, how was your, I guess, upbringing in Malaysia and how your journey is to Brisbane now? Like, do you feel like it's a very different like life?
Yep, it is definitely very different. So growing up gay in Malaysia can be pretty lonely. Just like it's illegal in Malaysia, right? Like it's legislated. It is illegal to even be gay. Let's not talk about gay marriage.
Yeah.
And I was born in like a small town, not just a small town, but also like a pretty Islamic town.
Right.
So I'm not even from the big cities or like, Penang or KL where there's more Chinese people, which is like, more open-minded. Yeah, it can be pretty lonely.
What made you sort of move from Malaysia to Brisbane? Like what triggered, do you remember
Okay.
the moment that you decided?
It was more like from an educational perspective that I moved to Brisbane. But I think growing up gay in Malaysia as well, like going back to that, I don't have a lot of gay friends that I can talk to. I don't have gay friends that I can talk to. And with my parents, like I never know if they're okay with me being gay. Like if one day I were to come up to them, will they accept it? Will they not? So growing up, I've always had this front between me and my parents. This wall that I'll love you, but I can't. I'm not sure if I can love you as much, like with my whole heart, because one day, if I'm disowned, what am I gonna do? So back to your question, Matt. So growing up, I've always strived to get the best result for myself as much as I can, so that I can set myself up in another country, and be financially independent. So I think that's like the main motivation to to really strive for that, and then going overseas. And I think when Brisbane came, initially it was like America, and then ended up with, you know, Brisbane, just because it kind of fit my path of accountancy.
Yeah.
So yeah, ended up here.
I do want to ask, like, what, like, did you come out before you moved to Brisbane, or did you come out while you were in Malaysia and then move to Brisbane?
I guess with that, I'll probably talk more about coming out to the parents, because I think,
Yes.
oh, actually, it's a lot of like, because I have like 3 other siblings, my parents. So like coming out, I think I came out to every family, like my siblings at different time of my life. And then with my parents later on, after all my siblings already aware that I'm gay. But I think I came out to most of them after coming to Brisbane, after being here, after setting myself financially.
Yeah.
And that's when I came out. It was much easier. Like it was, I just feel like it was much easier coming out when financially dependent.
That's
Yeah.
that's
I
just,
think it,
yeah.
it
It's
really
very,
stems back to the fear of being disowned.
Yeah.
oh man. I mean, you saying all this, like, Vince and I both also just feel very aligned in
Yeah.
your
100%.
journey and your story, because both of us didn't come out until after we graduated, or like at least in our
Have
third or
like
fourth
proven
year.
ourselves.
Exactly. We have to have
Exactly.
something that we've proven in case we get disowned or
Disowned,
whatnot.
yeah.
Like, because it's a huge fear, and I think it's so sad. Like, we have to kind of rely on ourselves, because one day we might be rejected from our parents, and that's like, obviously we don't want that, but I think it's a huge fear that we have growing up, and I feel like we still deal with some of that now, like to other family members potentially, you know. It's like this person we've known for so long, grown up with as a kid, and not for us not having a choice, and we can't change ourselves, but we have to have something that we've done and proven and accomplished to be able to
Be ourselves.
reveal ourselves in a
Yeah.
different way.
So when you talk about relatives, were you saying that you're not sure whether your relatives now will accept you or not? Or
I feel like in my own family, with my mom and dad's, different sides, one side is definitely a little bit more in the conservative side, and so they know of it. They know that I am. We just never talk about it, and like, I don't feel comfortable saying like, "Hey, I met someone," or "My friend Vince or you is also gay." Like, we don't. It's not something that we just bring up. I think it's under the rug, and I wish I could change that. Because it's like, why can someone else in the family talk about a partner that they've brought home, and it's also that too. I haven't brought anyone home for them to be like, wow, so he's actually gay.
Whoa.
my perspective has changed so much
Yeah.
on the relative side of stuff. After coming out to my parents and my family, whenever I have to come out now to my relatives, in the past it was like the fear of being judged, but now it has changed to, look, I'm inviting you on this journey with me. Like, this is my life. Like, this is who I am. If you want to accept that and,
Be a part of
and
it.
be at peace with that, you're welcome to join me on my journey. This is my Insta stories. This is my favorite story. This is my life. But if you are a hater and you can't accept it, then like, I have changed my perspective so much to being in fear to, like, if you want to join me, you're welcome to. Yeah.
Right.
That's where
Was there a moment that made you think in
snap.
that way? Yeah, snap and
Yeah.
be like, you're like in my world now. Like, I don't have to come out to you, sort of thing.
I don't know. Like, I think it was just being older. I think I had this moment when it was at my 30th birthday. I was, I've just finished reading this book. They Both Die at the End. It's like
Oh,
Yeah.
Vince and I are just like,
Yeah, we're just
we're
like, oh,
turning
I'm turning
32.
and then they both died.
It's anyway, so this book really, like, I finished this book on my 30th birthday, and I was like, I am old enough that I really don't give a shit about what other people are thinking anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm so dependent, I don't owe you anything, you know? Like, so that was when I just started rambling on my, like, on a post on Insta, and then just came out on Insta with all my pictures with Michael. Yeah, when I came out to my parents as well, they were like, "Oh, can you, like, we're okay, we love Michael, we accept him, but can you not put it online? Can you not make it public?" And at that time, when it was so fresh that, oh my god, my parents accepted me, that I did not even. I was like, yeah, sure, let's not talk about making my life public. But like, I was so sick of living a lie, sort of like online, on like on not being able to be myself. And I think maybe the main thing here is me wanting to just be myself, to just live my life.
Yeah, I find that really admirable. I think there's a moment in, I guess, like late 20s where we feel like, and turning 32, like Vince and I are both turning 30 as well this year, and I know we're getting so old, but I'm like so excited because
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like a
like
new leaf.
it really is.
Welcome
And
to the club, guys.
yay!
Yay.
No, I think it's just like this moment of self-assurance, and
Yeah.
obviously we're going to keep growing and keep being better people, but
100%.
it's just like me thinking now to when I first met you, I'm totally different. I feel like I'm totally different. Like having a queer community as well, I think is so important. And just realizing the fullest version of ourselves.
I definitely think I think we all weirdly enough have the same kind of not issue, but just we don't really have a core like queer community. Like we have each other, but like you know how we sometimes see people online, they're all just with a gaggle of gays, and we're just like, well, that's interesting. How come I don't have that? But like I think what we kind of have is like now that we have relied so much on ourselves and we're so introspective, we can like and we can choose our own family. Like we are like, does my value align with that kind of lifestyle, or that this person, does that really like align with myself? Like I think we have such a high standard for like what we can bring into our own world of like, is this person going to bring peace, or is this going to person that's going to bring drama and toxicity into my life? Obviously, yes, the gay community can be a bit toxic, but like now we have the power to kind of pick and choose if we want to like, do I want to entertain that? It's not so much like that we're yearning for that community. It's more just like, no, I just want to protect my peace, because I feel like most of the time, from what I've experienced, is that it gets to a point with I guess like queer friends that it becomes too much, and you're just like, oh, I actually feel very uncomfortable, and I'd just rather like mind my own business. And then like I don't find that I align with a lot of members of our community, and maybe that's just because of like other things, but at least I have you guys.
Yay. Sorry, Vince, do you have a so I think Matt did mention previously that that he does not have a lot of gay friends, or maybe he does now. Like I don't have a lot of gay friends. Like my gay friends pretty much met.
And I move away when I ran away.
So do you have a lot of gay friends in your circle?
Aside from Matt again and yourself, no. Like I mean, I no. I take it back.
Interesting. Okay.
I take it back. I do. Like I have a friend Will here, and then another like a roommate like Jamal who like left. But I think I'm more surrounded by like queer people, especially in the dance community. Like it's very common, but like I don't have like a friendship like I have with Matt or yourself, where it's just it's like close, and it's just like it more or like Will, like it's very like select. It's more just I don't know. It just sometimes it just doesn't click, or sometimes I'm like maybe I'm seeking the wrong kind of connection. Because again, maybe in my head I'm like, oh my god, is there going to be like an agenda, or can we just be friends? Kind of thing.
That's the thing, though. I think it's
Yeah.
like when we do meet other gays out in public, there is a sense of like
Yeah, the gays.
Yeah,
gays.
gays in
I
the
think
wild.
gays in the wild. It's like, are we hitting on each other? Are we like
Yeah,
actually
like-
seeking friendship? And for the most part, for me, it's like I need more gay. I want friends. I want gay friends. It's like I don't want to hit on you. Yeah, I think having queer community is so important. But how do you feel about the queer community in Brisbane? You
versus Malaysia, I guess, as well, or if there is one.
Honestly, I'm not really involved with the gay queer community.
Involved with the gays.
I don't know, going to gay clubs and watching drag queen shows and being around that part of the community, I guess. I don't think I've contributed anything much to the society, to the gay community. Sorry, not society. I do contribute. I think I pay my taxes.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
But, you know, like, I've always wanted to do something back home in Malaysia to try and, like, you know, to make people, you know, be okay with being gay. I have tried, like, you know, with my family, my mom talks to a friend about, you know, Michael and me. So, and in my, you know, like, I have such a big relative group. Like, every time during Chinese New Year, there's a whole big bunch of them.
Oh yeah, we see
some
that.
of the uncles.
We see
you
those
understand that.
big parties.
We saw those big parties. I'm like, must be nice. Must be nice.
So, like, you know, like, some uncles, you know that they are gay. Some of the aunties know, but they're not open. Nobody really talks about it. I think a few years ago, I was like, I'm just gonna bring Michael back. I'm just gonna have him at those reunion dinners and all that. I just want to make it normal in our group of family. My dad was super opposite. Like, my dad's so traditional. He's like, you don't need to. And I'm like, I think you don't need to do anything. And I'm like, I will. Like, I will try and just normalize it, because you, like, there are other queer people in the family. Why are we not embracing each other? Like, why are we? Correct. Why are we not going, hey, bring your partner? Like, you can obviously someone that is, like, for example, a lesbian in the family. Like, you know, just make it normal. And I want to try and change that for the family. It might be ambitious, but, you know, since, you know, coming out and having Michael there, like, when you break down that wall, you can really see how much people just love you for being who you are. Like, people, like, if Michael's not back with me for an event, they'll be like, oh, where's Michael?
Oh, that's so
you know, those kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was only one. There was only one relative.
That's fine.
That was like, like, she old.
Call her out.
Yeah, call her out. We love you, auntie.
She was like, oh, when are you getting married? After this, I've just given a speech at my sister's wedding, right? And it was like about my sister being with me and Michael when we were in Brisbane, like, you know, and it was just pretty much so obvious that the content was gay as well. And after that, she came and talked to me. She said, oh, when are you getting married? And I'm like, oh, you mean me and, where is your girlfriend? Or where's your girlfriend? And I'm like, oh, you mean Michael? It's like, oh, that's a guy. Oh, you can't be with a guy. And I was just like, okay. Like, as she said, you have to have a family. And I'm like, so rich of you to tell me, I did not say that out loud, but I'm like, so rich of you to tell me that I need to have a family when you are 70 and still single. Like, come on, girl. Let's be real.
Oh my god.
I mean, facts.
I'm gonna be 70 and
drag her.
Like, oh my god, live your life as a single old lady, and I live my life as a proud gay man.
Yeah.
Freaking facts. Yes.
Sorry, that was slightly triggered.
You are like, you say you're not contributing to the gay community.
Yeah,
you are. You're like
starting it within, these bitches.
You're starting it within the family, and that's like a huge part of it. You know, that's 100%. A huge part of it.
Yeah.
What do you think has to change in Malaysia to be more acceptance in the LGBTQ community there?
You know, with being gay being illegal in Malaysia, the gay community probably live in fear. I'm still very much tied to, like, the Malaysian community. My Facebook is all, like, a lot of Malaysian feeds coming through. And every time then there's content about something related to a gay person, you can see the comments is just full of hate and full of, like, people making fun of the queer community. There was never occasionally you will see people going, just let them live their life and stuff like that. But a lot of it is still very much like gay.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
I think it probably starts with the legislation and then
Right.
how people see that and if people can get out. But the thing is, I feel that in a family setting, if the parents are okay and proud of their kid, when their circle of friends see it,
Mm.
they will also respect the parents' decision.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
like
they will also be cool with it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So I think it starts with probably, the like each family. But then you still can't change much to do with the rules and the Islamic laws
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think it's tied mostly to maybe religion, or is it mostly just legislation?
Yeah, I think it's just backwards thinking.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think a lot of the stuff in Malaysia is pretty much tied to religion, to be honest. I'm honestly, I've thought about this all the time, like how, like what can change,
Mm-hmm.
their perspective, but it is really hard.
I know you moved to Brisbane. Was it 13 or 14? Like how long
uh,
ago was that?
2012, 13 years ago.
Wow,
Oh wow.
13.
Okay.
Wow. So what, like, when you travel back and forth between Malaysia and Brisbane, like, do you ever miss? What's your idea of home? Like, do you miss it?
I think when, like, I've been traveling so much in the past 2 years, just going back to Malaysia. And I think every time when I'm back home, I'm mainly just in my house. Like, I
Mhm.
still call my home, which is weird because, like, it's probably not my home anymore. It's so odd that, the house that you grew up at, I think at some stage you probably need to like it is my home. I call it my home. But then my colleagues here will be like, do you know that's not your house anymore, right? Like, it's like,
You've outgrown it, like your home, or
no, as in, it's more like, oh, it's your parents' house now.
oh,
Or it's probably your siblings' house. Whoever that's inheriting that house is not your house anymore. Like, so I think that perception is hard to detach from that is my house, the home that I grew up at,
mhm.
grew up in. And I'm a homebody. I like to just stay at home when I'm back. And I think it's mainly because to be with my parents, to be with family. And when I'm back there, home to me in Brisbane would be like with Michael. So I think
Yeah.
wherever they are, that will be my home.
Yeah. I mean, for
Mm.
all three of us, we've moved out of our hometowns, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm, mhm,
my idea of home is wherever my parents are or wherever my majority of my
Yeah.
family is. Um, I wouldn't call like LA home. It's where we are, like where I am now, but
Yeah.
for you, it's like Malaysia is your home and your hometown. And then you
Mhm.
also have a different idea of home in Brisbane. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's for me, it's like wherever my parents are.
exactly. And I think it is probably where your loved one are, like in the future. Like, whenever your partner is as well, that will be your home. So you'll always have
Yeah.
two homes.
Yeah. Do you ever see like you and Michael moving to Malaysia or staying put in Brisbane? Do you know?
That is something that we discuss a lot. If one day we were to sell the house here and then just get equity and retire back home
Mhm.
and live a chill life and retire early, that is something that we've always discussed about. Whether that will eventuate or not, I'm not sure. But that is definitely something that we do consider. Yeah. And I can probably then do more for the community back home. Who knows?
Yeah, you can preach to all the other young gays too.
Oh God.
Just door knocking. Oh my god.
Are
The
you
thing
gay?
though,
I
when
can help.
the thing though, when I'm back home, right? Like when I'm back home now, and being
Yeah.
a gay, I still feel like in a way, I feel like a bad influence to the younger kids,
Mm.
like to my relative, because I'm like, I will feel like, oh, my uncle and aunties be like, okay, that's your gay uncle. Don't learn too much from him. Like, stuff like, they're probably not saying that, but it's just something that I feel
Mm,
like.
Do you think that stems from like just how you were kind of like unfortunately treated if you were to come out at that age, that like, and also just how the society views like gay people in
Mm,
general? And by
Yep.
extension, it's like this childhood trauma of just like, oh my God, like this is probably what they're feeding the children. And that's probably how they see me. So for the better part of the community, I should like shield myself from them because I don't want to be influenced by that. And do you think that's where that comes from? Is this just how the society perceives us, and then by in part it impacts the children, and then that's how they kind of see you?
Yes, I do think so. Wow, you have broke that down so quickly, and now I'm here going, do I have trauma that I have to deal with?
We all do.
We really do.
Yeah, it's just systemic, right? It's just like it's not really us. It's almost as if like we always have to put ourselves aside for the benefit of others when we literally just want to live our lives. It's like, why do I have to now hide myself because I'm being a bad influence
Mhm.
to the children or
Your
to
children.
whoever or whatever it is, when in reality this is just my truth and I'm just like living it. Like maybe
Mhm.
teach your children just accepting themselves and maybe having less judgy parents.
Mm,
And just be
I
like
love that.
start from like within of being like, oh my God, am I being a bad person by saying don't hang out with like Uncle so and so? Like, yes, you are.
It's a different perception. I love that.
I think we, as like children of ethnic parents, like I think it's even like even more heavily influenced for us
Yeah.
because we have to. I think talking about it now, I think during this episode, I just realized like we've been protecting ourselves for our whole lives,
Yeah.
and as adults, it's like how do we open up, be ourselves? It's just we have to unlearn
A lot
what
of things.
society's taught us and what our parents have sub like not consciously, subconsciously imparted onto our
Yeah.
upbringing.
Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of it is like our parents probably knew that we were spicy children. Um and so like they're like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to like protect this child because I know how bad the world can be." And
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
like, how can I do that? And again, it's one of those things where they were literally just doing the best that they can, and they probably didn't know it
Mm,
either. They're just like, I feel it in my heart that I need to protect this child, and the only way I know how to do that is by either like, tone it down or like act differently or do this, but they probably don't know how much damage that will cause. And I think like what our kind of what we now have to do is do the complete, and as Matt has mentioned, kind of like unlearn all of that kind of trauma like building, and instead
mhm.
just like lift people up instead of being like, no, shy away from yourselves. And you hit it like correctly, Matt, with just like we just have been protecting ourselves our entire lives, and now we're at a point where like, no, like we're good, we can protect ourselves, we're fine. um Now it's like our turn to protect everyone else. Oh my God, are we gay superheroes? I think we are. But yeah, I think it's
Vince,
just
you've
like,
put it together so well. Um, yeah, like I think that is so true. Like our parents really do as much as they can protecting us from the world. And from not being bullied. I remember like my mom and my dad would always tell me to like, tone it down and tell me what I can do better to like,
fact.
not be as gay or whatever and they're just trying their best
Yeah.
to so that we are not bullied or like people are not judging us and our family or whatever.
Because
Yeah.
it's something that I've like had to come to terms with when I eventually came out to my parents, and having learned that they've known for a while, and I'm like, why did you say anything?
mm,
And it's one of those things where you're like, they were also learning. Like I have to give them
Yeah.
grace as
mm,
much as I have to give
They're
myself
doing
grace
their
because
best that they can.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't just expect them to understand what the stuff that I'm going through when I didn't even know what I was going through. It's like
mhm.
so unfair to just have that expectation in them and like you're supposed to be my parents. But no, it's just like they again had to move to a different country, had to like feed four children, feed themselves. The last thing they want, no, that was so bad. The last thing they want is a gay child. No, but the last thing
Oh,
that
come on.
they, but the last thing they kind of like is like, how do I like educate myself with having a queer child or like any of that kind of realm? I
Mhm.
guess it's hard for them to navigate having lived a different lifestyle back home to now. Obviously, like it took a while for them to be so accepting, And I think it's like there were moments where I'm like, ah, God, like you said earlier in this episode, that just it takes a while for you to have come out to your parents because you were testing the waters. And yeah, I feel like it was one of those things where I had to prove myself just to even come out. And I'm like, I hated it. Like, that's a part of me that I'm just like, I see all these young kids now that are just out and they're like 9. I'm like, I love this for you. This is what we were fighting for. But like, part of me is like so bitter.
Yeah.
I know that you have a birthday that's coming up soon in a few weeks. So we wanted to ask, like, what advice or what would you tell your younger version of yourself?
Yeah. What wisdom?
Yeah, there's so much I want to tell myself. But I think the one main thing is probably to do your ABC all the time. Assume nothing, trust nobody, and challenge everything.
Ooh.
Like,
wait, one more time.
A contract. So ABC, accept nothing, believe nobody, and challenge everything. Especially before you get into a relationship as well. Like, just to check everything.
I love that. Oh my God. Yeah.
Do you have a childhood memory that you cherish the most, or you think about from time to time?
I think, being in high school, so much innocence, so much passion. And I think like I was very much involved in like a drama club. So I think that memory has always been like a fun time in my life, just, with friends that are passionate about a project, just having fun together.
Okay. So I know we didn't send this to you, but we have some rapid fire questions.
Shit. Okay.
It's cool. Don't worry. Don't sweat. Okay. So our first one is, if you had to describe yourself as a work of art, what would that look like?
Like a Van Gogh painting.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
What's the color palette? What's the what
Starry Night?
Oh.
A lot of blues, a lot of strokes of blues, everywhere, cluttered, messy. Yeah.
Love that.
Love. What is your favorite Malaysian dish?
Laksa.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yum.
Spicy
Malaysian
like me.
Spicy like you. Oh my God, delicious. I'm gonna add one more. Well, 2 more actually. I have a secret one. What's your favorite Britney Spears song?
Oh,
what a tough question.
That is a really tough one. She has so many good songs. Work Bitch.
Oh yeah, I see that for you.
Classic.
You know the choreo. Show us. No, I'm kidding.
It's like the easiest one where you just go.
She was gonna go.
Here we go. Tune into YouTube to see it. And then our last one is, do you have a personal mantra? If so, what is it? Yeah.
Enjoy life, live a little. I'm very uptight as a person, so I would have to tell myself that from time to time. Just enjoy life. Just chill. Take a chill pill. Pop a Xanax.
Okay. You were supplying.
Cut it out.
Okay, let's get into You Do or You Don't, our segment where we pick. Well, our guest today, Yuu Lim, will be picking our You Do or You Don't, something in society or life that is debatable and questionable, and we kind of discuss about it. So, what is your You Do or You Don't this week, you?
You do or you do not offer honest opinion to your friend when they're going through like a break with their partner, like an argument or tiff? Do you, will you be honest with your feedback, or will you just cover it up just because you know that they might be together again in the future?
What's your answer, you?
I always will go the do not, because I will never, I don't know, like, unless they're like really big flags, really big red flags, like DV and stuff like that. I would always be on the fence, just because they might, like, it's like couples go through so many arguments and stuff. They will make up, like, if I were to offer up, like, oh my God, your boyfriend sucks. and then they're back together again. It's honestly awkward.
Hi,
But
welcome back.
yeah, welcome back to our lives. Yeah, so personally, I do not.
Oh, so you don't for you.
You
Okay.
don't.
What
Yeah.
about you, Vince?
I'm a you do, but I always
Mm.
preface by saying, like, do you want my opinion or do you want me to listen? And
Ooh.
then if they want my opinion, then I'd be like, avoid, run, and cancel. Because I've seen so many people that have gone through like back and forths with their respective partners or like exes or whatever, and it always doesn't like they're always in so much pain afterwards that I'm just like, if
Mm,
you give me permission right now to tell you that my unsolicited, oh, my like, I guess my opinion, then I will say it and I will be as honest as I have to be because like I'm your friend and I'm here to be like, no, they're clearly like either gaslighting you or they're not good for you or you deserve more. I will always be a cheerleader for my friends. And if that other person is not hyping them up or they're not like, if they're weighing them down, I'm just going to be like, no, I'm going to be 100% with you because like you deserve so much more. And I feel like I hate settling. And I feel like that person is settling then be like, babes, you can do better. So I'm a you do.
You haven't
Unless,
you haven't asked me if I want your unsolicited advice. You just give it to me.
because
Run,
sometimes
Matt.
the flag is really bright red, Matt.
The flag is I'm covered in the
It's
red flag. I'm
the-
covered in red. Oh my
yeah,
God.
you're painting. Yeah, that flag is red.
Okay, so it's you do for Vince. I
It's a
think
you
it's
do.
also you do for me.
Mm.
If I know that friend really well, I think I'll say what I really feel. But it depends on how close I am to that person.
Yeah,
Or if the issue or what it is big
a
enough
big issue.
because yeah, I think it ranges on a different scale, but I think it's mostly you do for me because I don't really want to hide my feelings around. I'm just like, girlfriend, he's trash. Like I
Yeah,
he's
call
piece
it
of
out.
trash. So yeah, it's a
You
you
guys
do
just
for
make
me.
me look like the worst friend ever.
You actually told me about this.
No.
That whatever you say, we're gonna do the opposite. I'm kidding.
Exactly. No, we'll have to ask you like, how do you really feel? Like multiple times.
How do you
I'll
really, really feel?
Or do
get
you
you
really,
drunk,
really feel?
get you drunk, you, and then ask you again. Oh my god.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, I love that. I love that. We haven't had someone else bring you do what you
Into
don't
this
to the
space.
table.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
it's
Yeah.
very refreshing.
Yeah. I love all your you do's and you don't. Vince, so someone on Friday, like a new grad has wore sweatpants into work.
Yes. Sorry.
Gay
And
gasp.
and when you mentioned that in the first episode, I was like, girl, you do not do that.
It was a curated look.
You know what? You should
And
send that graduate the first episode.
and when you justified that with it's a curated look, I look artistic, I look cool. I can see that sort of. I can see you doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, look, he has his like earrings and like
Okay. Yeah. It's
a whole look. And I'm
Yeah.
like, sure, I can fight with that. I'm gonna be a cool manager, won't say anything about it.
Cool tax. This is
yeah.
like
Cool
a tax office.
accountant. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not in my team, so I don't really have to deal
Okay,
with it. But I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you want to say? Not last words, but last
Oh
thought.
wow, okay. Like I'm so happy to be on this podcast with you guys. Like every week. No, not every week, like every bi-weekly when this is about to come out. It's like I'm so excited for it. I'll just get on my morning routine and play it in the background. I love listening to you guys talking. So it's just such an honor to be here with you guys, talking with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We love you so much.
Yeah.
We lived through you.
Yeah,
We
I
want
know.
your life. Give us your life.
I live through you guys. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
You guys make me feel old now.
You are old.
Oh shit.
Okay,
Oh
cool.
my God.
Thanks.
You're old in experience. And happy early birthday.
Yeah.
I'm only 3 years older. Jeez.
Catch us on the next episode. Thank you so much Yuu Lim from Brisbane. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.